watching every Disney movie ever. Today I'll be talking about Jungle Cruise. Welcome back to Ever Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Ever Disney Movie Ever. Today I'm going to be discussing Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise is a 2021 theatrical release about a woman who wants to find the tears of the moon to help the world. It is directed by Jaume Collet-Serra, cinematography by Flavio, Martinez, Labiano, editing by Negron, music by James Newton Howard, and written by Michael Green, Glenn Ficarra, and John Requa. Ficarra? Did I say Ficarra? I hope I said Ficarra, not Ficarro. If I said Ficarro, I'll include this part where I'm like, Ficarra? Just kidding. I'm sorry. Don't hate me. The film stars Dwayne Johnson as Frank, Emily Blunt as Lily, Jack Whitehall as McGregor, Edgar Ramirez as Edgar, and Jesse Plemons as Prince Joaquin. In 2004, it was announced it was going to be made with Madeville Films with Josh Goldstein and John Norville to write. It was inspired by Pirates of the Caribbean at the time, obviously. In 2006, Alfred Goff and Miles Miller were attached to write it, who are the people that created Smallville. That's very exciting to me. In 2011, it was then said that Tom Hanks and Tim Allen would star in it with Roger S.H. Schulman to write. And then in 2015, it announced it got a revamp with Dwayne Johnson attached to it. Dwayne did a ton of research and came on as producer, and he wanted Patty Jenkins to direct it. In 2018... Jack Whitehall got cast, and they said there'd be a somewhat of a coming out scene for his character, and that would mark the second openly gay character in a live-action Disney movie. We will touch on that a little later. Filming began in Hawaii in May of 2018 and then moved to Atlanta later. They used Arri Alexa SXT Plus cameras. The underwater scenes, I think the cinematographer, I don't remember exactly who said this, but they said Blunt showed no fear despite being a novice acting underwater. They ended up wrapping in September. Post-production took about a year. DNEG, Industrial Light Magic, Rodeo FX, Rising Sun Pictures, Weta Digital, and The Third Floor all did the VFX. The film had a $200 million budget and made $220.9 million in the box office. It was released simultaneously on Disney Plus for premiere access. I believe this was during the Bob Chapek rule where they were doing this, and it's still COVID-y. Like, we were still wearing masks in 21, you know what I mean? So that's why I didn't do so well. The Ride. Okay, so for those who don't know, this movie is based off The Ride, just like Pirates of the Caribbean is based off The Ride. So The Ride nods, the puns that Frank says, that is a direct nod to The Ride. Jungle Cruise, all the tour guides are big on puns. There's lots of puns going on. It's a big thing. Lily is based off and inspired by Indiana Jones. The cockatoo in Nilo's office is named Rosita, based off the bird in the tiki room. And then there are a lot of Albert Falls references in this, which is a fictional character at Disneyland who discovered Schweitzer Falls and founded Jungle Navigation Company. So there's like a little bit of Disney lore all woven in here. Like I said, released simultaneously. It does have a 62% Rotten Tomatoes consensus. Its craft isn't quite as sturdy as some of the classic adventures it's indebted to, but Jungle Cruise remains a fun, family-friendly voyage. After its opening weekend, Dwayne Johnson did say they were already talking about a sequel, and then obviously that hasn't happened, and in 2025, Johnson said people at Disney said they don't think it should be revisited. Cinematography is great. I have no complaints. I don't think it's like the greatest cinematography, but tons of movement, really fun weaving all through the environment. You feel really in it and immersed in it, which is really well done. The effects look good. There wasn't any effect that I was particularly like, oh my god, that's so fake, it's terrible. The animals that are fake don't look like maybe as real as they do in like the Jungle Book. But like the jaguar is believable, the snakes are believable, the bees are really believable, but I feel like that's the easiest. Otherwise, like, green screen effects were fine. I didn't really have any problems with those. Lighting was pretty. I do wish we could get back to some artistic lighting, but Again, this is like one of those things where green screen is just used throughout every movie at this point, that movies have to be blanket lit for the green screen to work the best, and then they add the lighting effects, but that just will never get the same look as doing the lighting for the camera. But I digress, it's fine. The film is quick and right into it. It's well edited. I didn't feel at any point that something was dragging or too slow or was moving too fast or anything like that. I really love they use slow-mo in the movie one time, and it's when all of them get shot with tranquilizers, which I thought was a very fun way to communicate that it was a tranquilizer, not like some kind of poison dart or something, how they all like slow and then just like faint and then we cut. I thought that was great. I thought that was really fun use of that tool. I thought it was a great way to translate that visually. Otherwise, no complaints about the edit. The music is super fun, adventurous. I mean, it's James Newton Howard. This is pretty much like a perfect choice for him. I think they really nailed it on the head when they were like, we want James Newton Howard to do this score. It's perfect for him. It's right in his wheelhouse. It was fun, adventurous, a good time, recognizable. Great. The film starts with an opening voiceover. It's been a second, but there's opening voiceover, and it's brutal, okay? It's brutal. It's Tears of the Moon lore, so it's similar in like Shang-Chi and Raya and the Last Dragon, where it's like a lore dump. So it feels a little better instead of being like a Cruella moment where it's like you're showing me what you're telling me, so I don't need the voiceover at all. It's this though, unlike Raya and the Last Dragon, where like it feels very necessary and part of the story and really works. It felt unnecessary. I feel like we could have learned with the Tears of the Moon, where while we're like on the adventure, I feel like the lore dump right at the beginning was unnecessary, and we could have learned it along the ride. It is a period piece. It takes place during World War I. Frank's puns are alive and well. They're pretty brutal. They're pretty funny. Dwayne Johnson does a nice job delivering them. The Jaguar fight is crazy because at first you're like, no freaking way. Like it takes you out of it. Like it's like, no way, dude. And then you realize like later it's his Jaguar and it was staged, which is crazy. He's just running constant cons. Sorry, Frank. It's all right. Good form, strong form, or whatever he says. That was funny. The submarine / if it was still called a U-boat reveal is genuinely one of the funniest things. Like, who the hell, I think someone says it one time, but who brings a submarine to the Amazon? Literally, like, laugh out loud funny. I saw this in theaters. This was I think this might have been our first movie back in theaters, or it was one of them, because I remember, like, being excited to go back to the theater. And this was, like, I remember the U-boat submarine showing up, and my brother and me dying. Because we were like, what the is a submarine doing here? Or U-boat. I don't know what it was called at that time. So funny. And, like, a good gag to have throughout the movie, if I'm honest. Like, that felt like a really natural, funny gag. Like, of course, this prince would bring a submarine to the Amazon. And then you're like, is it even deep enough? Like, it's just crazy. Anyway, the dialogue is like fun. Obviously there's some that's a little like but most of it's like really quick and witty and fun jokes and all of that. I think the part of this that feels the most Pirates of the Caribbean is the 4 guys that are cursed with the river, and so like they're made of like snakes and trees and mud and bees. I think that's the most Pirates of the Caribbean feeling aspect of this movie, with like a curse that gives them, like, you know, it felt very like Davy Jones and all the people on Davy Jones's ship, the Flying Dutchman. So like that's the part to me that felt the most Pirates of the Caribbean. Otherwise the rest feels like its own adventure. It does feel kind of very Indiana Jonesy because it's a little bit treasure hunty. There are some funny lines in this. Like I said, it's okay, strong form, and then like, could the bee give you coordinates? And the prince being like, don't be ridiculous. Like, working in technically bee puns. There's a parent death. Frank says his dad dies. I think both of Lily and McGregor's parents are dead, but they don't outright say it, and it's obviously not seen on screen. it is fun. So now I want to touch on, like, this movie is very fun. I find this movie very enjoyable. I think it's a fun adventure film. I think the story solid enough to be like a family-friendly adventure down a crazy river where they encounter a bunch of different stuff. There's enough fantastical things in there that make it kind of fun and fantasy and, you know, all that. I think it's a really fun movie. I would, like, yeah. I will say there are two things I want to discuss. Number one, the coming out scene. I remember being really affected by the coming out scene. I feel like I hate that it's called a coming out scene because he's not like coming out to the world. Like the people in his life already know. He's just like explaining something to Frank, and it happens that he includes that he's gay. And so I hate that it's called a coming out scene, but I understand why it's called a coming out scene. And then there's the whole, like, okay, this is... there's a problem. One, I'm not gonna, like, be upset that there's representation. Especially because it's, like, okay representation. He's not a villain, he doesn't die, like, he's a big character, and, you know... you get to see this out on screen. He's a gay character during a time very unlike today where it would have been like very, very taboo and not okay and like, you know, all of that. So like there are really great, obviously amazing parts of it. But then there's the part that is like Disney is always skirting around the issue, right? Because they want their movie to be able to be digested globally and also not isolate a huge part of their audience here in America. And so they're always skirting around the issue. They always include a character for the people that have been asking for this kind of representation, but it's always in a scene that could be cut out or lines that could be changed so it can be digested in other parts of the world and can be digestible for the part of America that doesn't want this or whatever it might be. And so that herein lies the problem. Is their representation is always half-baked, it's always lazy, it's always a character that's like, okay, fine, but like, what the heck? Like in Onward, the random cop you see in one scene that says, oh, my girlfriend's kids, and you're like, okay, like, sure, that's fine, whatever you want to do. And then the other, by the way, openly gay character in a live-action film that they're talking about is LeFou in Beauty and the Beast, which is a joke, if you ask me. That's insane. And so, not that LeFou is, like, representative, but, like, that's what they're calling two openly gay characters. Like, I mean, I guess, technically speaking, they are not wrong, but they're skirting around, like, they're cowards. They're cowards. They won't, and then they always have to, they do it in such a performative way. To be like, look, we did it. We did what you're asking. And it's like, stop. Like, don't stop giving us the representation. Stop being pansies about it, is what I'm saying. They did it just to be like, look, we did it. Instead of just like, the world is a melting pot, dude. Like, gay people exist, and there are a lot of them. Like, what are we talking about? I don't, like, it's just, sorry, I might not be coming off how I would like to be coming off. Basically, I'm happy for the representation. It's beautiful. He's not a villain. He's not, like, killed. Like, that's you. And the fact, like, that's the problem. The fact that I'm saying, like, oh, yay, we got a gay character that isn't killed or the villain is also a problem. Like, the fact that I have to say that and that I could celebrate that is also a problem. So it's just, okay, I think you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm grateful for the representation, but I'm not going to be like, this was good enough. I think that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I'm grateful for the representation. Great. Thank you. Amazing. It's not enough. Like, I'm not going to say, like, you did it, now you don't ever have to do it again, or you don't have to do it better. No. I think that's, like, what I'm trying to say. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I recently saw someone say, or refer to this era of Disney movies that we're in as the corporate era. My brain loves that. Loves that identifier. This, what the era we are in with Disney right now is 100% the corporate era. And that is the perfect way to describe the Disney movies that are coming out right now. And at this time too, obviously, because this is like 5 years ago. It is the perfect way to describe it, because there are some bangers that come out, right? Like, I haven't gotten there yet, but Encanto. Encanto's a freaking banger. But otherwise, a lot of the movies made around this time, not terrible, not bad movies, but have this quality that is so, like, inauthentic, but also not, because, like, I know there are filmmakers behind these movies that really care about what they're doing and what they're making and want to put out a good product and a good story and a good whatever, you know, but there's an air to them that, like, they're too polished, too perfect, too tightly knit, too whatever. There's no room for imperfections. There's no room for art. Like, it's just like, oh yes, here's our tight little knit, well polished, like, movie. Some of them are, that's such the perfect way to explain the era we're in, where it's like, yes, I watched this movie and I enjoyed it, but I can also say it pales in comparison to things they were making back in the 90s, when it was, you know, they took a shot in the dark. You know what I mean? This was really long and I apologize. My God, I don't think I said anything I wanted to say as eloquently or as articulate as I would have liked to, but hopefully my sentiment comes across. Okay, so I'm going to talk about, this is a touchy subject because I don't like to talk about people's appearances and their bodies, but I do want to talk about something that has been being discussed online for sure a lot, and that's when people getting so much work done to their faces that they all look the same and that they look unrealistic and not like, you know, themselves. And Emily Blunt, she's not fully like that in this movie, but I know recently she had some work done and she looks almost unrecognizable to herself. I think that's a stretch. I think she's still, like, I can recognize her as Emily Blunt, but she definitely, whatever she had done has changed her appearance enough that it's like, oh, she's had a lot of plastic surgery. And all that matters is she is happy with it. She loves how she looks. That I'm not trying to say she's ugly or wrong or whatever. I will say this is becoming a bigger and bigger issue in this industry, especially because these people are actors. They're supposed to be representing real people in real life a lot of the time. And a huge thing is period pieces, like this film. And it's a little bit crazy to ask an audience to believe that so-and-so is in the 1810s. Not this movie, it was obviously 19, what, we're in the Great War? 19, who knows? 17, 16? I think it's 1916 in this movie. It's a big ask of the audience to be like, yeah, believe this person is in 1910. When they have lip filler, Botox, facelifts, eyelid lifts, chin implant, whatever they might have, it's a huge ask to have audiences suspend their disbelief enough to believe the person covered in plastic surgery or who has plastic surgery is believably in the 1910s. And I think it's also so sad sometimes that some women feel very pressured to do these things so they're forever looking young, or men or non-binary people feel pressured to do these things so they feel and look younger or feel, you know, better about their looks. And this is like teetering a line, right? Because, like, obviously your body, your choice, do whatever you want. But also there's the argument of, like, how am I supposed to believe you as an actor in certain things? And, like, a lot of people I've seen complain about veneers. No one has their natural teeth anymore. Instead of just getting braces, people are just getting veneers. So everybody has the same teeth, the same smile. And, like, I've been seeing people online romanticize movies from the early 2000s and 90s where people had less work done. They had their real teeth. Like, it's sad to me that people are feeling the need to reminisce about these. Like, it's a really complicated thing because, like, obviously I'm not in any world trying to tell people what to do with their bodies, and I'm not trying to speak negatively about their appearance. They are beautiful, but it's also like no one looks like that other than these celebrities, you know what I mean? So it's hard. It's a hard subject to discuss, and then it makes it a little less believable. So while, like, she's somewhat believable in this movie because she hasn't had as much work done, it's still like, okay, but no. You know what I mean? Okay, that's all I was trying to say. I have a lot of soapboxes today, apparently. I'm so sorry. My favorite part is probably the silent understanding between Frank and Lily when he says, she'll have to kill me. Because it was actually like asking something of the audience. It was asking the audience to use their brains to know that Frank can't die. So her shooting him and killing him doesn't actually kill him, so they can do that, right? And so I liked that because it then felt very like, hey, we're all in on it except the prince, which was really nice. My least favorite part, probably the corporate feeling. The too polished, you know, can't be super, like, authentic with itself, you know, feeling that the movie has. That a lot of movies around this time have. Cruella had this feeling, you know, a ton of movies around this time have had this feeling. So, probably that. Recommend? Yes. All of this criticism I've been giving, I still really like the movie. I really enjoy it. I think it's a fun film. I would 100% watch it again. I'd recommend it. I think it's fun. That's everything I have for Jungle Cruise. My final rating is going to be 7 Tears of the Moon flowers out of 10. Our total movie count is. Our parent death toll is. Try count is still the same. If you want to keep up with what movie I'm watching when, follow me on all socials and check out my website. You'll find out what movie I'm watching when. I put out videos every Monday, Friday, and sometimes Wednesday. Join Patreon. I got a tier starting at just $1. You get every video a week early. Tiers above that, daily trivia, monthly postcards, bonus content, etc. Go check it out. Seriously, pretty please. Buy merch. Merch is great. Merch is grand. Until next time, comment, like, subscribe. I'm not in charge of your life. You are a studio, and don't be... Should I do Aguiar? No. Oh, Prince Joaquin. Yeah, let's do Prince Joaquin. About it. Do I have it? I do have a Jungle Cruise one right up there. This one. That's my Jungle Cruise one. Nice. I thought so. Which is interesting. That must mean maybe I own it. It might have been a movie of the month. I miss Disney Movie Club. Does anyone else miss Disney Movie Club?